Welcome to Team Sports Entertainment, your one-stop shop for mature dialogue. We're going to get right to it. Welcome to Team Sports Entertainment, the podcast, your one-stop shop for mature sports dialogue. I am your host, Earl Teemer, alongside my co-host, my big uncle, Alan Teemer. We got a special guest with us today. In the middle, we got my boy, Said.
Yeah, how you doing, guys? Thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Listen, we're getting right to it, man. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. That way you understand and know when we upload new content. We are very excited here at Team Sports Entertainment. The NBA play-in Eastern Conference has been settled. Boston 7th seed at the moment, right?
Yeah.
We got Washington.
8th seed.
8th seed is Washington. Hornets is the 9th seed, and the 10th seed would be
Pacers.
the Pacers. All right. So listen, man.
First of all,
I'm just excited, man, because we're not accustomed to this. Last year, the play-in was a little bit different.
yeah.
Now you had we had to wait to the last minute to figure out who's playing who, because everyone was within one game or a half game, but it's here now.
And that's the thing about this new play-in. This new play-in, at first I wasn't for it. I'm like, what is this? I mean, it don't really make sense, you know? And but then now you see the excitement. Ain't no tanking going on too much across the league because everybody is fighting for positioning, for play-in positioning. And right now, we already knew that the teams was already eliminated from being in the play-in, some of the teams. But nobody was set to be in one specific place.
Not at all.
You know, so if people are still fighting to the last game of the season for positioning. And I don't know when the last time you've seen that. So now you got LeBron who's saying whoever made this should be fired. Well, if I was in the play-in, I would think like that too, you know. Yeah. But I tell you, if I was the 7th, 8th seed, and now I got to play to keep that position, yeah, I can understand that. But that why you think that. But this play-in has been exciting. Yeah. It's like games going on and they're not going on because you're wondering, well, how this going to be? How many times we talk on the phone?
Yeah, you don't even know.
You don't even know.
I think that was the point of it, right? So because we always had load managing cats like sitting for like the last 2 weeks because they already had their spot solidified. But now it's a little bit different, man. Like if you don't show up, that's the difference from going from the 4th seed to the 6th seed. So we're going to get right into it, right? So the first game would be Boston versus Washington. Obviously, Boston will have home court in that. So we're going to start with our predictions first, and then we're going to just unpack the game. So for me, I'm going Washington. Who you got?
Washington.
Say who you got?
I like Washington as well.
All right, so the season series between Washington and Boston took that what?
2-1.
2-1, right? 2-1. Huge caveat, Jaylen Brown played those games. He's not available. Russ and Beal weren't on a tear like they were at this present time. So,
and Boston wasn't struggling the way they're struggling now.
No doubt. Yeah.
So, I mean, Boston has a habit though of struggling at times, and then when the playoffs hit, they're a total different team. Yeah. But this is not a playoff. This is a play-in. The good thing about their positioning is that it's not one game and they're eliminated. It's one game and then you have they will have one more chance to get in. And I just don't see them beating Washington because the Westbrook experience.
Yeah, he's on the tip.
Banged up too, though. Boston is very banged up.
Yeah, very banged.
They got guys that are just not. How can I put it? Just not there.
Yeah.
You know, just not even there. You know, but to say this, to meet his own, you know, they're just. How can I put it? It's games where they just like when I watch them, they're not there as a team like all the way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They'll play well in spots, but they're just not getting it done in games that I've saw with them.
So basically what you're saying, and that's what I acknowledge them, they don't seem to have an offensive game plan. This is other than Tatum going one-on.
Yeah, step back and all that.
Right.
And in the playoffs, and you know how it is, you gotta be able to put the ball in the basket. You gotta be able to get stops and stuff. You're not gonna get up and down and score 100 and 115 points a game like that, like in the regular season. It's a little bit different. Like what I like about Washington, why I like them in that playing game, is because of the ability of Westbrook and Bill to come around. And then they got Bertrands. Who's the other guy? Ish Smith.
Yeah.
And then who else they got?
The big
guy. What's it? Gafford.
Yes, that's
he's a monster.
Yeah.
You like him.
I really like
him.
Yeah, I like that.
I like them. Earl, to let you know, both of you guys, I like Washington to win that. I really do. I like them in that playing game, and that's just what I see. Boston's really been struggling though.
Yeah. So we both we're all taking the Wizards, right?
Right.
So obviously, if the Wizards win that game, they would take the 7th seed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Boston would play the other two teams. We'll get to that.
Right.
Possibly getting the 8th seed.
Mm-hmm.
Now for Boston, what do you think they need to do to have a chance to beat the Wizards? We know Tatum needs to have a otherworldly, out-of-body experience as far as his game, but what needs to be done to neutralize Beal and Westbrook to win that game?
I think defensively they need to be able to get into them, make them very uncomfortable, not let Westbrook and Beal get off to obviously a good start. And you have to, with those two guys, obviously all-stars and stuff, you got to get into them defensively. You got to make them very uncomfortable, make them take tough shots and put them in situations where they can, take tough shots and stuff like that. That's just my take on it. You cannot allow them to just do what they want to do, because once they get on the roll, it's done.
Yeah.
That's just the type of players that they are, both of them. They can both go on tears, and just individually, their individual scoring is just, that's what they do.
Well, overall, the matchup may not be too bad, right? Because Washington doesn't possess as much size as other teams may, because Boston doesn't have any bigs. So they have Robert Williams is there, right? Tristan Thomas off the bench. But other than that, they just have a bunch of junkyard dogs who play bigger than who they are, like Grant Williams and a couple of other players. But you don't want to call it too soon as far as like it being a dominant performance, but I just don't see Boston having enough. And with Brad Stevens, he showed his limitations throughout the whole season with Jaylen Brown and Tatum. So, but what's next?
Kemba Walker also,
yes,
just
sir.
to note him,
Talk that.
He's been, to me, I like him, but it's times where he can be very inconsistent sometimes. His games I think I saw a game that he had 30-something points against Chicago, 33 points that I saw. Mm-hmm. And then the next game, I think they played, I forgot who it was. It might have been the Hornets or somebody else. And he had like maybe 9 or 10. Mm-hmm. He has to be consistent for them to win against the Wizards. Obviously, Marcus Smart, he's another guy. Mm-hmm. These guys are not, up to par and not getting it done like that as they should. Me personally, the game plan, I would take, not having Jaylen Brown is going to hurt on the other side. So now teams can just focus in. Maybe you don't have to help off on anybody anymore. You can just load up, set your defense and maybe make a box, have Tatum to just create and let these other guys just, beat you, which I don't think they can. They're not consistent enough like that.
That I'm not going to agree with, because we're forgetting that Marcus Smart, he has playoff experience. Defensively, I would match him up with Westbrook, which is really not. I mean, most cases he can slow them down. So I'm going to go off what we've seen from Marcus Smart before, but in this series against a Westbrook, he's just not going to be big enough. I mean, he's tough enough. He's going to try to battle with Westbrook, but Westbrook is not backing down from anybody. So he can't get physical with Westbrook, as I think that's going to work against them. But Fournier is the key to answer your question. What could they do? Fournier would have to stop playing like he's the new guy.
Yeah.
And he has to, because some of the games that I watched that they struggled in, like especially that Miami game that Boston just played. Yeah. I watched Miami double team him. Mm-hmm. And that kind of just took them completely out of the game with him being doubled. Fournier has to be able to do some of the things, and he has the ability that Brown does.
Yeah. But he has playoff experience from Orlando when he was on Orlando.
That's what I mean.
So, yeah,
but he's, to me, he's been playing to try to fit in. Now you don't have to fit in with Brown and Tatum. they need you to be Brown.
Yeah.
Or be Fournier.
You need to be that second or third option that they need.
Right. You don't have to be the third option no more, third or fourth. They need you to be that second option because you guys mentioned Kemba. Kemba has been very inconsistent offensively, but a no-show defensively.
Yeah, that's his MO.
So that's making it. If Kemba's not going to give you the offense on a given night, you can't really leave him on the floor because he's already a defensive liability. And last year in the playoffs, I've never seen him get abused the way he got abused. Defense, as far as him on defense. Yeah. So Boston got their hands full, and as far as coaching is concerned, Boston's coach, I haven't been impressed with him at all season.
Nah, it is. I think he reached a plateau. But also, to his defense, Scott Brooks has blown a lot of games this year too down the stretch.
Right.
But I think like a lot of players have playoff experience.
Mm-hmm.
This is the NBA play-in, but this is more like the NCAA tournament. You don't have no games to figure this out.
No, you don't.
No. You lose once, you're going home. So Marcus Smart, his defensive ability, he may wear you down over a 7-game series, but Westbrook or Bill, they get hot one game.
That's the one thing about the play-in.
Yeah.
It's that Final Four.
Yeah, like a March Madness.
March Madness type feel.
Yeah.
You lose one game, have a bad night.
That's it.
Yeah.
The thing about the 7th and 8th though, they do get another chance.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. All right, so we all decided on who we taking in that, right? So all of us decided the Wizards. So now we'll go to that's the 9th and 10th spot, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the Hornets in Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Predictions?
Yes.
Let's start there.
With me, I have the Hornets to take that. I have no faith whatsoever in the Pacers. First of all, they're banged up. They're banged up, and they're just getting LeVert back, and
he's playing well, though, man.
Yeah, he is.
Well, we expected that.
Yeah,
definitely.
We expect that. Sabonis' knee is banged up.
Okay.
He's sitting out, and but that young Charlotte team, they don't have nothing to lose, and they're gonna play loose. LaMelo Ball. I think he's one of those guys that needs that limelight to really go to the next level. Okay. I mean, LaMelo Ball. First of all, he had a few games to get under his belt, and with the rest of those young guys over there, I think they really is just gonna play loose.
All right, so you're taking Charlotte. Who you got, Seth?
Man. I know Charlotte took 2 out of 3, from them during the regular season and stuff, but I'm gonna have to go the other way out. I'm gonna have to go with Indiana on this, and to tell you why, both of you guys, I just think, Karis LeVert, Sabonis, those guys are gonna step up. They got the home, they're gonna be they're the 9 seed, so they have the home court. Mm-hmm. They do have it,
okay,
and I do believe that they're gonna find a way to get it done. It's not going to be easy, obviously, with the one and done situation. But I do think Indiana, down the stretch, they'll figure it out to get it done, and to move on and be the 8th seed and potentially set up a matchup with them in the Philadelphia 76ers in the first round as the 8th seed. I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, to play the loser. Of that 70. I'm sorry about that. I apologize on that. But I just like Indiana. That's just my take on it. That's why who I think. And they still banged up, right? They still got
Indiana's still banged up.
But who's not though?
But these guys haven't been playing.
Yeah. Turner,
Warren has been
out. Warren's been out the whole year.
Right.
But Turner, where is he? How will he be back for this playing? Because he's been out for a while.
He might not be ready. I don't know if he's going to be ready.
And so is the point guard.
Holiday?
No.
Not McConnell, right?
No.
Who's the other guy?
I'm always trying to blank on this team.
Came from the Bucks.
Brogdon?
Yeah, Matthew Brogdon.
I mean,
yeah.
But this is what I'm saying. These guys been out for a while.
Yeah.
To the point, like, okay, now they got to come in a 1-game series, a 1-game playing game, and you haven't been playing.
Yeah.
If
I had to choose a team, I'm rolling with said. I'm taking Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
But the fan in me
Mm-hmm.
would prefer to see the Hornets there because I want to see Boston play the Hornets. Haywood and Rozier match up with the Celtics again. You know what I'm saying? I think that makes for good TV. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Right.
ratings and stuff like that.
That's a nice little
yeah.
That's a nice little thing right there. When you got two players that Boston didn't want, they end up in Charlotte, and now they're gonna meet up in the play-in game.
Yeah.
Somebody got to go home. That's a story in itself.
It is, man. But Indiana, the players that are out, if they're just 75 to 80%, I just think they possess too much size. You know what I mean? Turner, Sabonis. Sabonis is an all-star, man. Let's not forget that.
Yeah.
LeVert, he's a baller. He can get his own bucket.
Yes.
Brogdon, if he's there, if he's 70%. These are players that can actually ball, man. Charlotte, they're exciting to play, but they make it tight.
Yeah.
They make it tight.
Young team, never been in a playoff type of atmosphere, never been in a situation like that.
But it's fun to watch.
They're a different type of young, though.
Yeah, they play hard.
Type of young. Yeah, they play hard every night. I mean, against they got a few upsets
throughout
the year. Throughout the year, I paid attention to them a lot. Actually, we was planning on getting to them and doing an episode on Charlotte, but we just never could. I think we kind of lost a little interest when LaMelo went down for a little while because at that time he was on fire. But I'm not, especially going against with Indiana. I say Charlotte.
Charlotte.
I go against you guys, and you know, when we come back and have to do it with the results from that, you know, y'all better hope that I was wrong.
Let me ask you both guys this though, seeing the fact if the 8th seed, whoever gets it, do you see Charlotte or the loser? Indiana or Charlotte. I'm just doing the scenarios. Indiana, Charlotte, winner playing the loser of the 7-8. Do you see any of those teams? Let's just say, hypothetically, we say Indiana. They get the 8th seed. Do you see them maybe pushing the number 1 seed, Philadelphia, and maybe making it maybe tight, maybe tough for them? Do you see maybe I'll put it to you like this, both of you guys. Who presents the biggest challenge to Philadelphia and as them being the 1 seed? What team do you think that can maybe push them maybe a little bit in the first round, or do you think it shouldn't be like a problem? What do you guys think?
I don't think it'll be a problem. I just think that the Sixers would sweep Charlotte and probably beat Indiana in 5.
Right.
Okay.
That's exactly what I would.
So that's probably what it wouldn't be. Yeah.
I don't think it'll be a headache at all for them.
So let me ask y'all something. Okay. So that's the 8th.
Okay.
So let's say we all have Boston losing and Washington having the 7th seed.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what do you think happened with Washington playing in the first round against the Brooklyn Nets?
I take Brooklyn in 6 or 7. Just because of the talent aspect. Now, if Washington was to win it, I know this sounds crazy. I wouldn't be surprised though, because Westbrook is going to bring a different kind of motor, and they played them well this entire year. Yeah. So,
but you know,
but Harden is back.
Some people will say, well, all season long they haven't had all 3 of their players on the floor, and that's the reason why Westbrook would in the first round. Yeah. Because any of your NBA fans, and I know you Dream Teamers out there, you have to be not just your team. You watch, and I'm quite sure you done seen Westbrook and Durant over the last few years when they meet up. Ever since Durant left OKC, that is a battle in itself. Not only just play and with the play, with the trash talk and technicals between each other, with the talk that is personal with them. You know, and of course we know that KD gonna say something on Twitter. that's a little petty, but that's going Washington with Westbrook going against the Brooklyn Nets will be exciting. Even if they got swept, each one of those games is gonna go down to the wire, and Westbrook is gonna leave it all out there. And the reason why I would give them Like I agree with you. I can see that if them going 6 and 7 wouldn't be a shock to me, for the simple fact what I just told you. And this is what I worried about with Brooklyn. Their big three only played about 8 or 9 games together for the whole entire season. The Brooklyn Nets haven't played with their big three only about 8-9 games together all season long. And when you get into these tight games, especially the intensity that Westbrook comes to play every night, and he's going to a even higher level for what's at stake. So if they met up in the first round, and Washington was able to upset Boston and get there and play Brooklyn, that's the type of series where, to me, the Nets lose. Not maybe the series, but what it's gonna take. They're gonna have to dig deep.
It's not a walk in the park.
That's not gonna be a walk in the park.
Is like
right.
A 5 or 4 game series.
And the pressure that's gonna be on, and I just don't trust that. I don't trust Kyrie under pressure. I don't trust Kevin Durant under pressure. They're too worried about what the media thinks and what the media is gonna say. So and you already know. Let them go down a series. Let Westbrook walk in there. And we keep saying Westbrook as if Bill not there. You know what I mean?
That's the sexy headline,
right? Yeah. And you let them get that first game.
Still a game in there, and take the home court away from them.
I want to see how they respond.
All right, so let's unpack that then. All right, so it's hypothetical, right? That's if they beat Boston, right? They will play them. What do you think Washington needs to do? Because obviously they would be huge underdogs. We watch the games and we see Westbrook because he don't mind taking on different matchups and things of that nature. But the team overall hasn't really been there before. Yeah. Bill. It's been a while since they've made some noise in the playoffs. So my question to both of you: what do they need to do to make it a series? I'm talking at least 6 games. You start what you said.
Yeah, I think personally, what Al was saying, I think. Again, you make these guys, the Nets, uncomfortable. You put them in situations that they never really saw. I do think the role players for Washington have to step up. Obviously, Ish Smith, you got Gafford, you got Bertrands, you got these guys have to come in and take a lot of the pressure, a lot of the load off of Bill and Westbrook. Like me personally, I would like to see them maybe steal a game. Maybe let's see how the Nets would respond. But if it was the one team that I thought that nobody in the East that I thought would want to play would be the Washington Wizards, and the ability of them scoring the ball and Westbrook controlling the game and Bill getting his shots. Like I said, me personally, again, I think they can make that series very interesting. And I don't people to think like the Nets can just walk or 4-1 or the Nets in 5 and stuff. I don't see that. I think it would be a long grind-out series, and I think they can push them. And I think it would be very difficult for the Nets to get out of that series. I think they get out of the series. Let me make these words correct to both of you guys to what you're saying. I think they get out of the series, but it's going to be very hard, and it's going to be tough for them to do it. I really do believe that.
All right, so I pose another question because you said like Brooklyn has a big 3, right? Although they haven't played together in double-digit games. But what about I could be pronouncing his name wrong from Gonzaga. Is it Achimura on the Wizards?
Yes.
He brings a different type of. What do you think he needs to bring to, and what are you looking for as far as a matchup? Who is he matching up against? And give me like some stats or numbers you think the threshold he should meet to help the other 2 stars, which are Bill and Westbrook.
Well, see, what I like about him is defense, and that's what he has to do. And that's what your question. You said to me, what do Washington have to do? And what Washington have to do is, and it depends on how the referees are refereeing the game.
That's valid.
Right? Because if the refs are, and it's the playoffs, so they're supposed to allow you to play a little. So now, what they have to do is be physical, and stay up in their chest. Yeah. Kevin Durant don't like that. No. That's now the old Kevin Durant, but this one is a little more fragile. He wants his room to take his. He's not really going to the basket. He's shooting. He's always been a shooter, but that's all he's really doing now is shooting jumpers. So you got to stay up under his skin, keep a body up on him, even when he's out on the perimeter, and make the game difficult for him because you're not stopping him.
You got to be physical.
You got to be physical
and
with him.
Make it hard for him. PJ Tucker.
What? Right. What's his height?
Who's that? Dachimura? I think he's about 6'8", 6'9". But he's solid though. He's agile. He's quick on his feet. Mm-hmm. He's a good three. Not third star, but the.
Well, that's what he's gonna have to develop into. Yeah. And this is gonna be a great experience for him for now and for his future.
And he's not scared. That's the beautiful thing.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So, listen, we hate to be the guys here that talk as if it's wishful thinking. And I know it sounds crazy. Most of us, all of us, have the series going at least 6 to 7 games, but that's because we've watched Washington play. Yeah. We're not talking about Wizards from October and November who couldn't get out the basement.
It's a total different team.
Totally.
It's totally different.
Well, Scott Brooks said it best. It took time for the team to play at Westbrook's pace, and with the intensity that he plays, and that's why they're a total different team. And then they made the trade at the trade deadline and picked up the big man, Gafford. That kid is yes.
He jumps out the gym.
Right.
He can finish definitely.
Because when Thomas Bryant went down, they had no size, and Bertans he shoots too many threes. Although that's his skill set, sometimes that's all they ever. That's the only players they drew up.
And to me, he haven't really had a great season, but.
For the money
that's the thing.
He sat out last year in the bubble, right? That's the
right.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if he wait to the play? This is what happens when you play a Westbrook team, because as much we did a episode on that as far as Westbrook being misunderstood. The reason why is because you don't know which one of those pieces that Westbrook has, because he makes the players around him better.
Yeah,
and this is what a lot of people say he doesn't, and I don't understand it. How people can't see how he affects the game, and I know his team is young, and Westbrook is just the type that can come in the game and have 30 and 20 assists to go along with 15 rebounds. And then. We keep talking about Westbrook as if Bill is not there. Yeah. I know he's a little banged up with his hamstring, but if he is healthy or can get to, this is another guy who will drop. He's the second leading scorer in the league. I mean, there's no telling what could happen. So Brooklyn can have a nice little test with a very low seed.
Yeah, and to Brooklyn's, they have championship aspirations, right? A lot of people have them as the favorite. Now, we matching them up against the Wizards, but I think in order for them to have a chance at winning this series, that's Brooklyn, everyone must be on the same page. And I'm talking about off the court as well, because Kyrie doesn't, the statements he's making right now, that plays a big part, whether or not someone is locked in.
Right.
He's not. His mind isn't on basketball right now. And they're going to need him.
You
have a big three, but you're going to need all three of them.
All three. They're going to need all three
to make it happen. So
you got to understand, Westbrook is just getting back, and he has to play his way into form. He's been out for a long time, and he got to play. Harden has to play himself into form, and that's the thing, because Westbrook is going to take this series to a whole nother level, and you have to meet that, and that's a lot. And if you're labeling around and not playing, Brooklyn has to play defense in that series.
So I have a question for both of you, right? If you're Scott Brooks, obviously you have to pick your poison. Start what you said. How are you playing them defensively?
That's the big question.
That's
because
tough.
the one, as much as you can say that they haven't played together, that also you don't know how to defend them because you haven't seen all three of them on the floor.
No tape.
So how can you come up with a game plan based on stopping all three of them, and you can't. But anywhere it go, there is no game plan to stop them. Even if you got all the tape there is, the thing with stopping with them is to try to. You can't let all three of them go off.
I said, let me ask that question a little differently. Did you play them straight up, or did you send like kind of like LA did to Harden in Houston? Did you send a double at him early and you just let Kyrie play one-on-one ball, or did you just sit back and let Harden carve you up and facilitate?
But it's not that easy, because and this is why chemistry takes place, because you don't even need, if you're doubling Harden, you don't need Kyrie still to go one-on-one, because you still have those shooters over there.
Joe Harris.
You got Joe Harris. You got
Jeff Green.
Shamet. All of these guys.
Jeff Green,
they have to play together. It's not a three-man show. And if they get into those three-man show, you get yours, you get mine, and I got mine. That's what I'm thinking about.
That's what you're hoping for.
Yeah.
If you're Washington.
Right, exactly.
And you got to get stops. They got to say what you were saying. How would you defend? I just think they have to get stops. You can't just run up and down the court, trading baskets and stuff. This is not the regular season anymore. This is actually the NBA playoffs, and you have to be able to get stops. I don't mean a stop. You got to get multiple stops. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that. So I just think for Washington to have any shot, to have any chance in that series, they have to make them uncomfortable and put them in situations, maybe put them in a lot of ball screens and stuff, and make it hard for them, let them make decisions on what they want to do as far as defending the pick and roll and stuff, because Westbrook is very good at that. Putting you in a situation where,
But that's the problem with Brooklyn. Brooklyn don't play defense.
No, they don't.
And people are going to tell you that they do, because they have played, the numbers say they have played better defense. But they play better defense because they haven't had their big three on the floor. And they had role players that play defense in the game.
Of the world.
Right. Now you're replacing those defenders
with a valid point.
With offensive players.
You're right.
And that's what I mean. They got to work. You got two offensive explosions coming at you with Bill and Westbrook. So you have to play defense.
Offensive nightmare.
Right.
They're a nightmare.
Yeah.
God,
listen. This, I believe, will be, barring everybody stay healthy, I believe that this playoff and counting that series, if that happened, is going to be one of the best playoff series that we've seen, and the best playoffs that we've seen in a long time.
Yes, I agree with that.
I'm rolling. Yeah, so just to wrap things up for the Eastern Conference play-in, all of us took Washington in the first game against Boston. The second game, me and Sad took Indiana. Big Unk took Charlotte.
Yeah.
All right. And the second half of that, I don't think, did we touch on it? No. Boston playing Charlotte or Indiana?
No, we haven't touched that.
No, because we went right into the first one.
What we looking for?
Yeah.
No, we did talk. No, we did.
Boston playing. Now we got
Charlotte or
Indiana.
Yeah. So yeah, you decide. Who would you take?
I got Boston coming out of there.
No matter who it is.
Either one. Yeah.
That's a tough one. If they play, me personally, I think if they play Indiana, I think I like them to be Indiana. If they play Charlotte, I don't know. Charlotte can match the level of intensity, the athletic. They have wings that are athletic. I mean, obviously, just not having a Jaylen Brown is gonna hurt.
Key,
not having him. And like I was saying, and it's just my opinion. I just think without him on the other side, you don't have to help off on anybody anymore. Maybe you let Tatum get his, and then you limit Marcus Smart, you limit Kemba Walker, Fourier, and all these other guys. So that's just
I'm sitting here thinking, because I mentioned how even in the last episode we did on Boston earlier this week, we was talking about how Terry Rozier and Gordon Hayward will play against their former team. If Boston plays Charlotte, I'm going to take Boston, because I forgot. Boston they didn't want to extend Kemba. That would be Charlotte didn't. That was his former team as well, so he has something to prove. So that could be the game that wakes him up. So I would take Boston against Charlotte. But against Indiana, if Sabonis and some of those guys who are out are even 80%, I'll take Indiana. It's a lot to process. That's the thing with the playing. You got to write all this stuff down. Yeah.
But that's what's so exciting about it, because we can go through so many different scenarios of the way things are going to be, and when we get off air, we're going to say, oh wow, what about this? A lot of things we're going to touch on, because I'm telling you, right now, my mind is going, because I can't even. I'm trying to get the East and stay locked on the East, but I'm wondering what is going on in the West.
Going on in the West, and the West Coast.
So this play-in is very exciting.
I'm excited, man.
All right.
So there you have it, man. This is Team Sports Entertainment, the podcast. Once again, like the video, leave a comment below. Let us know exactly what you think. There's so many questions we can pose. Let us know who you think are going to advance between Indiana and Boston, and Charlotte and Indiana, and then you can give us the winners of Boston playing either Charlotte or Indiana. And look at me. I'm sitting here giving Boston the L already. That's crazy, right? Boston, that could be Washington as well. But let us know who you think is going to advance in the playoffs. Subscribe to the channel, and most importantly, hit that notification bell. Once again, I'm Earl Teema, Big Unk Allen Teema. Guest host Said is here in the building with us, and we appreciate you here at Team Sports. Y'all be good. We out of here.
Peace.
Peace.